Hello and welcome back to Easyweb Tutorials. If you were with us last week, you'll remember that we created and populated our default view. And today we're going to be showing you how to create views that do not correspond to the default view in a module, but that can have different components and keys and such. Like for instance a contact page, which is what we'll be building today. And we'll be starting off by jumping into the studio.
So now we'll go over to Easyweb again and we'll create what we call an alternative view inside of our pages module. So we'll go to the studio. And here we see we have our pages module, and it might look as though it's empty on views right now, but that's because the main view in the pages module is under the global pages. So we can see it as the page view under global. That is the main or standard view for the pages module. So here we can click the plus to create a new view. And we'll choose alternative here because we want this view to be an alternative to the default page or default view in the pages module. And we have a label here. We'll name it contact or contact, and we automatically get a view key contact. And if you've watched the earlier videos, you remember that the view key corresponds to the name we give the file in our code. We click out the checkbox create default contents in view because we want to create them ourselves, and we'll save. So now we have a contact view in our pages module, and this contact view, we still wanted to have a main image and a description, but instead of creating them as we've done up to now, we can actually go back to our page view. And if you click the little wheel to the right, there is an alternative here that says copy, quick options copy down in the bottom. So we can click this copy, and then we can go over to our contact view. And in the top, we can see a little button that says paste. So if we click here, we'll get this exact component with the same key and all of our settings pasted into this view instead. So we can do the same with the description component. And now when we have these two components, we're going to want to add the specific components that are different from our default page view. And these are our contact details. So we'll now create a section component. If we search for section or use the alternatives in the bottom to find it, we can do either way. We can add a section here, and we can name this section contact details. A section component, that's a component that doesn't have its own default HTML that it renders out, but you can view it as a container of other components if you want to group them in particular ways. And now, as you can see, we also have a little number here for 1, which means we're allowed to have 1 content inside of this section. But we're going to want to have 3 contents inside of this section because we want to have a content for name, a content for address, and then a content for other details. So we'll create, first of all, we'll click the little wheel to change the allowed contents. And we change it to max 3. And then in this section component, we have a little plus that we don't have in the other components. So if we click the plus, that means we'll add a component into this section, into this container. So we'll add a single line text box, and we'll set the label to name and the key to name. We'll add another text box and do the same, but with address instead, with 2 Ds. Yes, exactly. And we'll also add a third text box here, which we'll call other, and that will be for just other contact details that we might want to use. And we also want to have the opportunity or the ability to use more of them than just one. So we'll click the wheel and change the allowed amount of input to unlimited. Now we'll save our view. And when we now go back to the pages module, we can see that we have a little arrow beside the create page button. And if we click this arrow, we will get access to our new alternative view, which is contact. So now we'll create a contact page. So we'll set the title to contact. We can add a main image to our contact page. We'll add a short little description. And then we'll add some contact details. So here we're allowed to have 3 contact details for 3 different people, perhaps. And we'll create one contact details item for Niklas. And then we'll do the same for me and Klaus here. So we'll be right back when we have populated our contact details section. So now we've created the contents for our other contact details. Don't forget to save and publish your page when you've done that. And if we look here, we can see that on Niklas, we've added 2 other fields. And on myself, we've only added 1. And on Klaus, we haven't added any other fields. So this is for some dynamic controllability of the contact details. Each and every one are a little different from each other. Now we'll go back into the code. And since we have created a new view here with the view key, if you remember, contact, we want to create a new file that's named contact.cshtml.
And since we have created our alternate view in our pages module, we'll be creating the file in our pages folder.
And here we can try once again to use the EWI template tag helper to just see that we get our contents rendered out. So if we now go to our, we can go to our new page in Pages, and we can add a related link into the contact page. So we'll add another link here, and we'll select contact and save and publish. So now we can click contact here, which has shown up amongst our related links, and we'll be taken to our new contact page, which looks like this because we have only templated out all of the components. If this doesn't work for you, if you come to an empty page, then you might need to restart your project, and then everything should work as intended. And now we'll paste in some code here inside of our contact view or contact file. So we'll use the exact same code as we did on our page CS.html for the hero section. And then we'll paste in some other code here with our section for the contact details. So we'll create a section here, and we'll create the divs for our Bootstrap system. And now when we've done this, we can see that our image will show up. So now we have all of the components that were in our default view in our contact view. So now we want to specify a list here for our contact details items, or for our contact details section that we've created. And now inside of our container div here, we'll create another div with another row. And inside of this row, we'll create an EWI list for our contact details. We'll specify the key here too. And now we'll create the HTML code to render out our column for one specific contact details item. And here Nicholas will paste in some code with the keys that we created for the contact details text boxes. So we have a key for the name and a key for the address. So now if we reload this page, we'll see that all of our names will show up here. So we have Niklas with the address My Street 1, we have me with the address My Street 2, and then we have Klaus with the address My Street 3. So now if you remember, if we stop here for a moment, Niklas, if you remember, we actually created a list of the text field that we named other. Since we specified that we could have an unlimited amount of other text boxes, that will be in fact a list. So here we will need to create another EW list inside of our current EW list, but this EW list will be for the other text fields instead of the contact details. So we'll create this list inside of an UL. And then for every for every other text box here in the contact details, we'll create an LE with the EW for this. So $ still means this. So that means we are now in the scope of the list of other text boxes. And now when we reload our page once again, we'll see that the fields that we created in the with the label other here are showing up as well. So thank you for today. That'll be all, and we hope you enjoyed. So feel free to create different contact pages or different new default pages, play around a little bit with the HTML editor, and we'll see you next week again. Thanks for watching.
Bye.